Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday Lunch Live Sketch. My name is Frank Summers, and today we're going to be doing an original character, a barbarian rat. I don't know how or why that came from, but that's what popped into my head. So if you're new to the Wednesday Lunch Live Sketch, we pick a topic every week, and we do it for about 25 to 40 minutes, depending on how much time I have to spare. So that said, why don't we hop on into Photoshop and get going. Where's my brush? Where are you? I like to use Kyle Webster's animator pencil, and let's just zoom in a little bit. And if you can hear me, if my audio is no good or whatever, let me know, please, in the chat. That'd be fantastic. So let's get started. It also would help if I started my watch, and away it goes. Let's make sure my volume's up so I can actually hear it when my timer goes off. Okay, so a barbarian rat. So let's get, I have an idea already of what I think I want to do. So let's get a chest puffed out a little bit here and a cranium. So let's just get some rough stuff in place here. A bit of a snout with some shape to it and a nose. And I want the hat helmet really low on the eye line. It's almost going to be serving as a brow, so the eye's kind of peeking underneath of it. And I was looking at Conan as some reference. So he's got a very flat hat with a little ball on top and like the horns kind of sticking out. So something like that. Here's his chest mass. Again, he's kind of sticking it out a little bit. And going down into his legs, tapering. Maybe loosen that leg a little bit more. And then this leg here. Sticking that chest out. And then catching the rest of his weight, this opposite foot. Tapering. And then, of course, we have a tail. And I was thinking it'd be kind of funny if it had like some spikes or something sticking off of it, some sort of armor or something. And, just an arm and a fist down here. Maybe he's got some sort of shoulder pad and it's wrapping across. So something like this, And he's got a buckle, a big fat belt buckle with I think I'm going to put a skull there. And then, this type of thing going on in the middle. He's got his loincloth. And then for our opposite arm, I was just thinking maybe he's holding like a halberd or something like that. I don't know if that's barbarian enough. You are the only person in the world watching. Well, I'm watching too, so that makes two of us. Pigget Pappy. Who is talking? Who is he talking to? Is he crazy? He is crazy. He's I'm talking to anybody who watches the recording of this. There's definitely people who watch the recording of it. Center this a bit better. How you doing today? You doing okay? Pigget Pappy, excuse me. How are you? Oh, Free just showed up. How are you, Free? Good afternoon. Today's topic is a barbarian rat. It's an original sketch, so let's just keep moving with that. And here's this frown. Here's that nose, and again, we'll give the snout a little bit of shape. And he's got teeth coming down. And there's that eyeball, that pupil. Here's like an ear flap, like a piece of armor. I'm doing well, man. Good to see you, Free. How you been? Keeping busy. So he's got this shoulder thing, it's kind of going across the chest. And now let's get some, maybe let's keep the hands a little tighter, smaller maybe, you know what I mean? Thinning at the wrists, so that's kind of fun. So maybe these fists are a little smaller than what I have going on already. And so let's get like a bit of a skull going on here. Let's play with the symmetry on it a little bit. And again, we're just early in the sketching phases, so we're just really roughing him in and playing with some shapes, seeing what works. And we'll give him some cuffs here. What do you call these? Like our wristbands. And again, thinning into the wrist a bit more here. And let's fix this elbow. And get that cuff going a bit better. Working and grazing, you're going to do a little bit of you working. What are you working on, dude? Let's go back to our loincloth. Let's give him some boots. Some barbarian boots. And let's see where that tail is going to be. Maybe it's a little higher. And maybe I have it a bit too long. So let's pull it back. Let's adjust it. It was a little too low. It was a little too long. Oh, no. Yeah, your 3D model are nice, man. No, of course. I totally understand. What do you work in? I'm assuming Maya. So here's our rat, our barbarian rat. So let's do a flip. Let's zoom out a little bit. 3D Max. Wow, I haven't opened 3D Studio Max in a long time. Let's do our flip horizontal. It's not looking too bad. Generally, when you flip horizontal, things pop out to you. And right now, what I'm seeing is a very strong, these are like in line with each other, and I don't really like that. So what I might do is just to break up our space a little bit, is just take our halberd and maybe pull it down a little lower. So he's got it gripped pretty high, maybe along the shaft. And that works a little better. I feel like things are connecting a little better. And maybe this foot could be a little more planted cleanly. Yeah, I used 3D Studio Max just goofing around with it, like back in the late 90s. And I had no idea what I was doing with it. By no means do I consider myself any sort of 3D expert. Let's actually pull this in a bit. I always toy with the idea of maybe learning how to use Blender. I think that would be kind of fun. All right, so I feel like I got a good idea of certain aspects of our character here. So why don't we flip him back? The old flip and like zoom out really far, like that helps. Like as you squint at it, it helps eliminate extraneous detail, and it helps you kind of see your design a little clearer. So that is what I'm doing there. I'm zooming really far out, and I'm squinting at it with my eyes. So like I used to do that a lot when I was in college. I would take my drawings that I was working on a piece of paper, actual paper, like 16 and what was it? 18 by, oh boy, 18 by 16 oh god, I'm drawing a blank on the sizes of the paper. But it was large on a pad of paper, and I would put it at the bottom of my steps, and I would walk all the way to the back of my kitchen and look at my work, and that helps gives you perspective. Any racing sim game you've ever messed with only has 3D Max plugins, so you've never messed with Blender. I see. Well, Blender is open source. It's the same thing about. I know a lot of people are going bonkers over OpenTunes being this platform that was going to revolutionize, and it will. It might. But the problem with it is that there's no support. So, and that's like what studios want to see. They want to see support for their software. Because case in point, I'm having some trouble with my day job right now. Right before the stream went up, my Premiere keeps crapping out on me. And I'm pretty sure I can figure it out. But if I was working in a studio environment where time is money, I would have to call Adobe and they would have to give me support. But things like open source stuff, like OpenTunes, you have to you go into a forum, you're kind of trusting Joe Schmo, who may or may not really know what he's talking about. No, I'm not, by any stretch of the imagination, am I downplaying the communities that develop around that software. I'm simply saying that you can't. Most productions don't have time to make a post to a forum and wait a day or two for some answer that may or may not work with their particular setup. So that's the reason why we never see open source stuff, for the most part, inside of studios. Okay, so I'm feeling pretty good about this rough right now. And what I'm going to do now is let me check my time first off. I'm probably at around the 7-minute mark or so. I don't know, let me see, 13, 14 minutes. You're stuck with 2010 Max. Well, that's probably, I'm sure it's expensive. So you make do with what you have. So the company I work for, which is talking about whether or not they should upgrade their copies of Toon Boom Harmony and Storyboard Pro, and I'm like, well, it's a small studio or a small company, so I'm like, it doesn't really behoove you right now anyway to invest in a bunch of software that you really don't use on a daily basis. I use it on a daily basis, but people within the studio do not. So I suggested that they not do that. Now, the one thing he's missing is his ears, and I feel like they're just going to be tucked inside of this helmet someplace. And I feel like I'm pretty happy with our rough. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit save, because saving is important. I'm going to move up to our next, I'm going to go to a tie down. And we're going to knock our roughs down a little bit as we do. Pull the opacity down, go to our tie down. I'm going to thin my brush out a bit. And bump the flow up just a tad so I get a bit more of a heavier line. And I'm going to darken it too, just a hair. You only have plugins. See, that's the trick too. Plugins. See, a lot of companies invest in all these plugins, and they only work with certain versions of the software. It's definitely a fine line. Whenever new software comes out, it's both fun and frightening. Because things suddenly don't work anymore. So let's play with these shapes. And this is generally the part of the stream where I start getting quiet because I'm thinking. And I don't put on music for the live sketch. I don't know why. Just don't. My animation live streams, I put on chip tunes. All right, let's get this ear flap, and we'll give it a little bit of thickness. And start working that eye in here a little bit into this socket. And again, the idea is that the hat is like right over top of the brow. I'd like to splash some color into this, as I usually do. Let's check our time. 10 minutes. I'm doing pretty well so far. Oh yeah, I totally get it. Yeah, you're saying you want to just get out sometimes of what you're in. Yeah, I understand that. You know, I used to do a lot of traditional animation, but I don't do it as much anymore, which is why I do the live streams for my own sanity. Um, most of my stuff is puppeted now, um, puppeted animation in Harmony, which don't get me wrong, I love doing, but you know, maybe it's got a little dent there. Oops, I forgot to. Hold on. My wife is sending me pictures of the kids. Let me see if I can. Come on. Cancel. How do you settings? Oh, snooze. Is that what I want? Snooze notifications for 1 hour. There. Sorry about that. My wife works for Nickelodeon, and she took the kids to a new showing of Blaze. She works on Blaze in the Monster Machines. So I tried doing 3D stuff in stream as a break. The work files kept popping up, so I get man, it's wedge-shaped piece of armor going across his chest. All right, let's take a look at this skull here. Yeah, I'm still working with pencil for right now. Something tells me that, as is usual, I'll be making a sprint at the end, putting color in. Again, let's keep this fist kind of tight. It's got matching. It's got matching thingamabobbers. Yeah, I work from home too, Free. That's exactly why I'm able to do this. And it's also why it's short, because I do need to get back to work. So I try to keep it to the point. I try to produce a single image. I've toyed with the format over the years in terms of how I wanted to do this. Let's get a little bit of irregularity in here. And so I'd like to get a total image done. So during the stream. So I move towards a more loose product, less cleaned up. I don't spend as much time after the stream on it. So that I can get something done and it looks somewhat final. Save. Or roughs for a second. Did you find me by accident? Yeah, it's generally how people find anybody, really. How did you find me, if you don't mind me asking? That just pop up in your feed, in your YouTube feed? Listen, Harmony, without a doubt, is leagues above, head and shoulders of better than Anime. Anime is still seriously Flash uh, with a new coat of paint on it. And anyone who uses Animate, that's fine. But for myself, I've used Flash for years, and I don't really know anybody working who says anything nice about it. And you never hear anyone say, "Oh, I love working in Flash." No one ever says that. They normally say, "I can't believe Flash just crashed again." That's what's normally is. That's what normally is being said about Flash. Oh, I crashed again. That's what's typically said about Flash. So, that said, I have moved away from it and I have not looked back. So I feel pretty good about my decision when I moved away from Flash/Animate several years ago. Maybe I won't put those spikes on the tail. It'll be too heavy. Let's see what we can maybe move into some color. Or you found me on Twitter. Follow Herd. It's good, man. It's always good having people to follow, and different people give you different inspiration at different points in time of the day, even, for goodness sake. I mean, God knows I could use inspiration myself for whatever reason. You know what I mean? So here's his little earpiece. Okay, let's see our time here. We're moving along pretty well, I think. So what I'm going to do is, oh, I got 31 seconds, which means I'm running out of time, which means I want to move into some color. And we'll do it pretty lightly. I think I have some ideas for some color here. And we're just going to use a standard brush, and we're going to fix the flow on it. And probably more browns, I would say. Maybe even a grayish. A little more. Oh, that's my timer. Okay. So I'm going to spend the next 10 minutes of this stream just getting in his some color. And then I think that'll do it. So we'll spend 10 minutes. So there's a lot of little thin things going on here. So let's just think blocks of color. Yeah, I stream every Wednesday at this time, around lunchtime, noon Eastern Standard Time. And at least I will anyway for the meanwhile, because my son will be finishing up school in the summertime and he'll be home, so I can't stream when he's here. It's just too distracting. I'll try to keep him basic, this guy here. I feel like I probably should have given him gloves, huh? Eh. Again, today's topic, if you're just joining me, we're doing a barbarian rat. Just doing an original character. I mean, I like doing some fan arts. I don't mind doing fan arts, but I'd also like to try and mix in some original stuff now and again. Put that in there. And when I'm done, you guys can go listen to the Google I/O if you're into that thing. Okay, I feel pretty good about this. So we got some color in there. Look at his helmet. I think I'm going to throw a slab of yellow behind him. Go a little darker on that helmet, I think. Maybe even put a little bit of blue in it. And we'll, for the sake of simplicity, try and keep the armor the same color. And I definitely need to put a slate in right now. We'll just call this slate. And we'll just slate in some yellow, I think. A dusty yellow. Whew, bright. It definitely pulls out the reds in his brown, which means I don't know. We'll have to see, but it pulls out the blue in the armor choice. So we've been going for about a half hour now, I think. Toon Hayes, hello. Toon Hayes and Twitch showed up. Good to see you. How have you been? Just drawing an original character today. Sketching, I should say. I was talking earlier about the need to try and finish something. So, you know, the product that I have produced during the live stream over the past year, this live stream, it's kind of changed. You know, it's gone from having a more polished piece that I would then work on after the stream to something that I'm a little more final, you know. So it's a bit of a balancing act. And I'm not sure what the answer is, really. Yeah, it's true. We're never happy, that's for sure. So let's try and find a little bit of a gray for this piece here. This helmet. And we can use this to tie in to down here. Little whatever these things are called, these little boot tufts. I'm not a huge fan of the shape on this one. And for his feet, maybe a little bit of green in there. Go darker, but a little bit of green. How does that look? Could work okay, I guess. Maybe. Now, I was drawing one of the live sketches I did over a year ago now was Dirk the Daring. And I love Dirk the Daring from the Dragon Slayer games. And I've always drawn him when I was growing up. I drew Dirk all the time. But I never really colored him. So when I was doing the live sketch last year, I was actually looking at his palette. And it's pretty amazing that he really only consists of like 5 colors. And like you just don't think it when you look at him. I think it's the color choices are so smart that you don't really think. And now what I'll do is maybe I'll make this maybe a little greener, and I'll use this to tie into this thing here. Or let's go a little more yellow, maybe a little darker for this. So the boots will tie into this little loincloth. Dirk was simple simply because I think my personal opinion is because it was a budgetary decision. You know, that game was made for such a small budget. It needed to be colored quickly. So 4 or 5 colors it is. And maybe we can use a nice dark brown for his belt. And it needs to have some saturation to it so it can stand out against his body. And we're going to use this brown again, I think, in his little ear flap. And that way we're pulling these pieces, these parts of his body together. So that we have like a nice harmonious design. So now slightly off-white for this skull here. Let's save. Looking close to 40 minutes, so I'm going to wrap this up here. I mean, look how rough these lines are. That's the insurance guy, I'm sure, or someone selling me electric, or we go a little whiter. Someone's going to lower my monthly electric bill. Someone's got a deal for me. Someone's going to sell me a car. Someone's going to sell me something. That's who that phone is. That's who that is. Let's use light in here. Let's go a little whiter. And right now I'm trying to pour on the heat, trying to get this guy in at least a decent situation. All right, Toon Hayes. See you later, man. I gotta go myself, actually. You're not the only one. I gotta get a move on. I actually didn't even eat my lunch yet. I'm gonna shove a sandwich. Shove a sandwich in while I figure out why Premiere keeps crashing on me. Let's go a little yellow. A bit of yellow in his teeth. And we can go even more yellow for his eye. And we can use this belt color to tie in here. Alrighty. Oh, I gotta finish his tail. Okay. Get that tail in there. Now this axe is looking a little too white. I'm not a fan of that. No. All right. So we have like a basic stuff going on here. So I'm gonna pull this slate back up again, which I'm not a fan of. I may actually even pull the slate back a little bit. Oops. And let's lock our transparency. We're going to go a little darker here. Some yellow in it. Alter the color of that staff. Whoops. Okay. That's a little better. Okay. I'm not a huge fan of this fist over here. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to maybe just throw in a little bit of color or a little bit of tone. We'll just call it tone, and we'll do our cheat. Make this into a clipping mask. We will set it to multiply about 50%. Take a blue. It's a little lighter, I think. Hey, what happened? Right, that could work. Maybe a little lighter on it. That could work. All right, we'll just throw in some tone. Where's my light source? So let's just keep it to this side. Soares, hello. How you doing? Thank you for showing up. How you been? Is there a little dent? We're just wrapping up. I totally understand that this is cheating, by the way. But said before, trying to move quickly here. Okay. Alrighty, I think that's going to probably do it for today. Save it. And there is our barbarian rodent, or our barbarian rat. I think it's going to do it for today. I think I went a little over. I apologize for that. But thank you everyone for joining me. I'm going to probably post this up when I have a few moments to post it on my Twitter and my Tumblr or my Google Plus or my blog or wherever you found it, or even my Facebook page. And that said, I'm going to kick it over to my end page. Please, I'm assuming you are. Click the subscribe button if you like what you saw. I do this every week at Wednesday at noon. Thanks for hanging out with me, folks, and everyone have a good one. Take care.